Oddity is a new horror movie brought to us from Shudder, and it was directed by Damian McCarthy. There's a lot of buzz on the internet about this movie. A lot of people are talking about it. Before it's on streaming, we had a chance to check it out in the theaters, and we'll tell you all about it in just a second.
Just open the door. I am telling you that there is someone in there with you.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another iPopcorn for that review. I'm Chris.
I'm Nick.
And today we're talking about Oddity. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. If you like horror movies and like independent movies like this, you're in the right place. And also, if you have seen this movie, definitely comment below and let us know what you thought about it. Hit like on this video, that helps us out a lot. But yeah, what is this movie about, Oddity?
A psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. Not a lot of detail in that description.
Not a lot of detail. And I think, honestly, if you're a horror fan, I kind of think that that's how you should go into this, is knowing exactly that much and no more than that. I think it benefits from that, and if you can see it in the theater, I really thought that improved the experience. But I saw this a little bit before you, so I'm interested to see what you thought about this and talk about what happens in it and all that. So
it was scary. It scared me. It was
genuinely.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are a decent amount of jump scares, but I think they were done really well, and it did have some good, like, creepy imagery throughout the movie.
I was here alone at night.
I'm just telling you what I saw.
Danny's ghost. My dead wife is not haunting this house.
Because I think I sent you the trailer for this one a while ago. And
you did, yeah.
I feel like the trailer didn't give away too much either. Like, it gave me enough to want to go see it and be interested, but not without knowing too much. But yeah, the movie was creepy. The music kind of hits pretty good with the scary moments, and there are some jump scares, but I'm fine with that.
It kind of had that
interesting story.
I don't know if it's an interesting story. It's unique, and there was something about this that kind of reminded me. It had me thinking in the theater, or maybe after I watched it, about like, if this is kind of its own subgenre or something, but like movies where there's a thing that's sitting still, like ominously for a lot of the movie, but it could move. Like The Autopsy of Jane Doe came to mind.
Right. Yeah.
And also Terrified, the movie that the guy who did When Evil Lurks did. Both of those movies had this element of something creepy that's just sitting, and this one as well, obviously, but had this element of something creepy sitting there that's sitting still. It doesn't move, but that's the creepy thing, is that sometimes it does. Yeah, that look, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, the basic story is that you've got this woman who's staying at this house.
They're like
renovating.
Yeah. By the way, I would live in maybe not because it was pretty creepy, but that was a pretty cool.
Not
house
anymore. But if it wasn't
yeah.
like the creepiest house ever, yeah. But so they're renovating this house, and she decides to stay there in like a tent. I think they have like no electricity, no running water, but she's staying there anyway, just I guess for the fun of it or whatever. And the movie starts with her being approached by this strange looking guy with a glass eye. He looks creepy and everything.
Could you open the door?
And
he's warning her that there's somebody else in the house.
Yeah, and it looks like it's an old carriage house or something where they used to maybe keep like stables or something, the way the house is laid out. But it's got the biggest peephole imaginable. It's like this giant block you slide to the side that you can literally see the person's entire face.
Which, it was cool. I mean, it's a cool aesthetic. Like, it reminds you of like you can tell this is a very ancient house. And yeah, it has that interesting, like, you're completely enclosed. Your car is completely enclosed by a house.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a...
But yeah, everything kind of hinges on that beginning moment, and then we get the credits. That opening moment I thought was really handled well.
So it's kind of like it starts off like you said, the lady dies, and then her sister shows up.
Yeah, so it turns out that she had a identical twin sister that is blind and owns this like oddity shop, which I wanted to see more of that actually.
Yeah, me too. It kind of like
because
it was vibes of Lorraine and Warren.
Yeah, the Warrens,
The
The Conjuring.
Warrens,
Yeah,
like, yeah. Except for it's an oddity shop, but everything's haunted, kind of like the Warrens' room with.
yeah. She even says
that.
everything's haunted. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't think of that. Yeah, it does remind me of the room in the Conjuring movies. But she owns this oddity shop. The husband of her deceased sister comes and visits her unexpectedly. Things start to get odd pretty quickly, and I really, I'm not figuring out. Like, it's not like a movie that leaves you with a bunch of questions at the end, but at first I'm kind of trying to figure out what exactly is going on here, because she comes over like as a surprise visit to his house, and he definitely was not expecting. It seems like nobody was expecting her, and it's very weird, and she ends up stuck there with his new girlfriend for a long time.
Well, I mean,
it makes for some very awkward situations.
She had ulterior motives showing up for sure, unannounced and everything.
Yeah, it wasn't immediately obvious to me what they were going to be. Like, I was like figuring it out along the way. But shows up at this house and brings this gift of this thing that's gonna haunt some people's nightmares. That it's kind of like, how did this thing ever fit in this case? Like, it looks like a wooden statue that has no hinge points or anything like that. But somehow she's like crammed it in this wooden case, and she gives it to him as like a gift, and it's this super creepy looking thing. I don't know why you'd give it to somebody as a gift. And she just openly says like, yeah, it was given to me it was given to my mother by a witch. But that thing makes for some creepy imagery, and I think all of the best jump scares in this movie kind of reminded me that you can do a jump scare right, and like not in a cheesy way. And some of the best jump scares in this movie came from that, and like I guess there's also an element of like the dead sister's ghost.
That his ghost. My dead wife is not haunting this house.
Put them back!
Yeah, there's a haunting going on as well as the wooden figure.
But yeah, just for me, man, I think this is the scariest movie of the year. Not to put down Longlegs or say this is.
I don't know.
I don't think Longlegs was going for that really.
Yeah, I don't think Longlegs was necessarily even a horror. I mean, it's in the genre, sure, but I think it was more of like a thriller mystery than it was a horror movie to me.
Yeah, like in the vein of like Seven or Zodiac or something like that. It felt like, there weren't that many people in the theater with me, but it just felt like the vibe was that everybody is terrified. I mean, bordering on not enjoying themselves. Like, I don't know about that, but if you're a horror fan, you're going to enjoy this. But there is an element of like, man, I was like looking around every corner to see what was gonna move, and it's just kind of everything I want out of a horror movie. And like you said, a creative storyline. It just felt like this year's like Hereditary or When Evil Lurks. Like, this felt like kind of the horror movie of the year. And we'll see. We're only halfway through the year. We'll see what happens. But the way they wrap it all up, the storytelling here was great. Like you said, the score accented it a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like I like to try to figure out movies as I'm watching them, as a lot of people do, I'm sure. But there's a lot of things I didn't see coming in this one, and that's always nice, because I feel like a lot of movies, I'm like, by the end of it, I kind of figured that's what was going to happen. But the very ending scene of this one, too, was just, the whole movie is pretty tense, which is great, and I jumped a few times because jump scares, but the very ending scene, like, you're just waiting around, like, what's going to happen? And then when it does, it's like, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, that last ending moment. I mean, maybe it won't work for everybody, but for me that was perfect. Like you said, there's major twists in this that I think for me were hard to predict. I mean, maybe saying that there's a twist at all is giving something away, and I liked the imagery of. I guess I won't say too much more than this, but the imagery of the mask and the glass eye, and just like the whole shtick around this woman. She's not just a psychic. She's like a special. There's got to be a word for it, and I'll put it right here.
Medium or something, or is medium a psychic as well? I don't know. I
think she specifically reads objects.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably a word specifically for that. But she reads objects and can intuit things, more than intuit things. I mean, she really can like get a full image of things from, and especially in the case of. The more contact it has with the person, the better this is at her gleaning information about this person. So in the case of the glass eye, it's like that lived in his head for however many years. So she gets a really nice image of everything, and that's sort of the thing the whole story hinges on, is what she sees in there. So that definitely changes things up, and it makes for the girlfriend. there's a lot of like, the more movies you watch, the more you realize like new girlfriends don't ever, it never turns out good for the new girlfriend in a movie. Like when some guy has a new girlfriend, it's like, oh, you're in for a bad time.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go well for you.
Especially when
But-
your her dead wife's sister shows up.
Yeah, and they obviously did not, like it was something that they started before, like while they were still married. And this is, you're dealing with a psychic here, so she can figure some things out.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes it awkward. And I just thought, like, by the end of it, I was like, this lady was like insufferable both at the beginning, but now I'm kind of feeling bad for her. Like, I would want to get my keys and get out of there too.
Yeah, you should go.
I'm trying to avoid spoiling it too much.
I would recommend going and see it in theaters. I think it deserves to be seen in theaters, especially with like the score to it and everything. If not, it'll be on Shudder sooner than later, I'm sure. But
that's the thing.
See it if you're into horror movies.
Yeah, I would, if you can find it in a theater near you, I would certainly not wait. Like he's saying, I think this is one worth checking out in the theater. I think the theater experience adds a lot. But if you're gonna watch it at home, like turn all the lights out and and add some atmosphere to this. Don't watch this in broad daylight with all the windows open.
Mm-hmm.
This is a creepy one for sure. So what would you give it as a score?
I'm gonna go high for, I would say probably like an 8.5. I like the whole thing.
Yeah, man. I'm giving it a 9. Definitely my horror movie of the year. And like I said, I don't want to compare them to Long Legs, but just the scariest horror movie for me for sure.
Yeah.
So definitely a recommendation.
We still got
from us.
Cuckoo coming, which looks crazy.
It does look crazy. There's going to be more to come. The new one with I can't think of it. Heretic. Heretic looks really interesting. So definitely more to come. But yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you in the next one very soon. Thanks,
See
guys.
ya.